Welcome to a special episode of Wrestling Fanatics, and in today's video, me and my special guest flying in from Idaho just to join us to break down all this Bloodline Madness and get down to the bottom of what's really going on. Uncle Dan!
Hey everybody, I'm so happy to be here with Wrestling Fanatics. I'm excited to talk to you about what has transpired the last few weeks and what is to come.
And now, let's get into it. We're going to talk about a couple things, but the first thing we need to cover is Sammy rejoining the OG Bloodline, because it's like one Canadian in a group of Samoans, and it's their bloodline. It's not his bloodline.
So personally, I think that Sammy being this time around in the bloodline is a little bit goofy. You got all these really strong Samoan guys, and then you have Sammy. Now, Sammy worked really well, I think, with the first storyline that they had before WrestleMania. That worked out really well. Everybody was really excited, but it just seems that it is just not a good fit. But you have to trust in Triple H and his creative to know where this is going. His
t-shirt went from saying Honorary Uso to Sammy Uso. So I think the whole Honorary Uso thing is out of the window, and now he's just going to be part of the bloodline. But he's not an Uso because he's not related. He's Canadian in a Samoan group.
Yeah, I think the whole thing's a little goofy. I don't know. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think?
Now let's talk about Big Bronson Reed joining the new bloodline, or also called Solo's bloodline. So we did some research last night, and we found out that Bronson Reed is Samoan, so it does make more sense than Sammy being in the OG bloodline. Because he is Samoan in a Samoan group, so it makes sense.
But he is Australian Samoan and not from the original bloodline family. So this is kind of where I think it gets a little bit interesting. Now, Bronson Reed is a big, strong guy. I think they made a great move moving him over to Solo's side of the bloodline, right? Big, strong guys, but it just seems a little odd now. It seems like it's a little off balance with the new bloodline and the old bloodline. My thing is, and I want to hear yours as well, what do you think about Bronson Reed sticking around after the bloodline match that's going to happen?
Me personally, I think he's just going to go bye-bye. From the new bloodline after this match, because he's just acting as the fifth member so this War Games match can go on. And we'll talk about the fifth member of the OG bloodline later in this video.
Yeah, so here's my thing. Bronson Reed goes away, okay, great, but he's Samoan, and not a lot of people know his backstory. So what if he flips and goes to Roman's side and makes that thing go stronger? But I don't think he does.
It could happen mid-match in Survivor Series, and the old crowd would be insane if Bronson Reed punches Solo or something. The crowd would go nuts.
Yeah. Can you imagine Bronson Reed and Roman Reigns on the same bloodline?
They would be unstoppable.
Because this is leading into something, you guys. This is leading into something.
WrestleMania caliber match.
Exactly. We're going to be and we're going to talk a little bit about The Rock, of course, and I think this conversation plays into that.
Speaking of Bronson Reed has had a huge and personal rivalry with Seth Rollins for the past couple weeks after he hit over 7 tsunamis on him on Raw.
So, does Seth interfere at the War Games match? What does everybody think? This is what I think. I think that the bloodline on one side, the OG bloodline, is going to get a 1, 2, 3, but it's not going to get called. Then I think the new bloodline is going to get a 1, 2, 3, but it's not going to get called. The ref's going to be turned around or something like that. So they kind of both win. And then I think Seth comes in and shakes the whole thing up, and that's kind of how it ends. What do you think?
Because, a War Games match is no disqualification, so Seth could interfere and it wouldn't even affect the match. The ref doesn't have to get knocked out or anything, but that's usually how bloodline matches go, so don't be surprised if it happens.
You're right. No, you're right. You're right. I would like to hear what everybody else thinks, because this is one that was just what has creative figured out for this bloodline rival.
Because, expanding on that, because if the ref gets knocked out, the crowd starts thinking something juicy is going to happen, which Seth interfering just to attack Bronson Reed could be that thing.
And you have to remember that they did bring in CM Punk and didn't bring Seth out of nowhere. So that's actually what we're going to talk about next.
Because also, CM Punk and Seth have a rivalry, and Seth has a rivalry with Bronson Reed. So that brings up the possibility of him interfering in this War Games match even more. And how did CM Punk even come about this? Because he has nothing to do with the Bloodline. Well, on November 22nd SmackDown, Paul Heyman returned during a promo with Solo and Roman and both Bloodlines, and he said that it would be 4 versus 5, meaning you can't do a War Games match. But then, boom, CM Punk's music hits, and now he's in the Bloodline, and then there's a big fight in the ring, and then SmackDown goes off air.
I find this whole thing really interesting. Everybody was excited to see Paul Heyman last night. Everybody. Now, Punk, Paul Heyman, that goes back so long and is strong. It's very interesting that he didn't pick up the phone or actually disconnected his phone number to Roman Reigns. So he's off the Roman Reigns train. That's what it's looking like, right? He's with CM Punk. Paul Heyman returns. Everybody's excited. CM Punk and Roman Reigns have this weird history together with, they fought, they've battled, and now they're on the same team, which leads me to not trust everything that's going to happen in this War Games match. Maybe he gets involved, which is one of the reasons why this match kind of breaks apart at War Games. So I'm interested to see that.
Now let's talk about the exciting stuff. What's happening in the future after War Games and in the road to WrestleMania leading up to WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas.
So this is where it actually gets really interesting. This is what everybody gets excited about, is The Rock coming back, okay? Now, that's going to be stretched over time, as we know. Personally, we got this great Bloodline feud happening. That's going to keep going. But when The Rock came back this last time at Bad Blood, and he has Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes in the ring, did everybody notice that he did that whole slice in the neck thing? He did the 1, 2, 3, and then he slices his neck and then walks backstage, right?
He also raised his eyebrow as well. But who is he doing all this to? So no one knows. Is it Cody or is it Roman? Because right before The Rock left after WrestleMania 40, he had a promo with Cody saying, he basically said, I'm coming for that title when I get back.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. So he's coming for the title, but it just, to me, I don't think people want to see Cody and Rock. I just don't. There's some people that do, sure, but people still want Rock versus Roman. It is going to happen. It needs to happen. It should have happened a while back. We all know that. We all know the story of it kind of falling apart and the storylines changing. But I personally think you're going to have The Rock join Solo side, and then you're going to have Roman and Rock fight. What do you think? I mean,
Roman and Rock fighting, that was supposed to be at WrestleMania 40, like he just said, but they can't delay it another year. Fans want to see who would win. Who will reign supreme, Rock or Roman? So it has to happen at WrestleMania 41. At WrestleMania 41, there could be 2 separate Bloodline fights. There could be all the other Bloodline members fighting against each other, and then Rock versus Roman as a big main event on night 2 or something.
Exactly. And then this doesn't set up where The Rock has to do the Royal Rumble and all that. He's not going to be doing the Royal Rumble. I hate to burst everybody's bubble here. He's not going to do it. They're going to set him up for keeping him in the Bloodline storyline and having his frequent returns build up to Mania. Everybody knows that. Everybody wants that. It's how is Triple H going to make this happen? Keep the Bloodline, new OG Bloodline, the new Bloodline and the old Bloodline relevant, which he will do a great job of and has done a great job of. But how is he just going to keep this thing rolling? Is The Rock really coming for Cody Rhodes, or are we going to see the match that we all still really want to see, which is The Rock versus Roman Reigns? I would love to hear what everybody else has to say about this. You got 2 people sitting here talking, but we want to hear what you have to say.
Please comment down below. I want to hear all your guys' opinions. And also, if The Rock versus Roman happens, my prediction is that The Rock would win. Because he's the people's champion, y'all.
And I personally, as an old school wrestling fan, would love to see it because I absolutely love The Rock. Love Roman Reigns, really love The Rock. So, again, we'd love to hear what you have to say. That being said, do you have anything else to say?
No.
Okay, well then I just want to thank you for having me here at Wrestling Fanatics. And we want to thank everybody for joining us today. Again, please leave your thoughts and comments below. And don't forget to smash that subscribe button.